Live from the CBS Bay Area studios, this is KPIX 5 News.
Now at 5, death and devastation across the North Bay this afternoon, where a rash of fast-moving fires have killed at least 10 people and reduced at least 1,500 homes and businesses to rubble.
At least 15 fires burning out of control all across Napa, Sonoma, Mendocino, Yuba, and Lake counties, incinerating at least 70,000 acres so far.
Alan Martin is anchoring our coverage from the fire zone in Santa Rosa tonight. Alan?
Well, Liz and Ken, I can tell you that the scenes here in Sonoma County, as well as Napa County, Lake County, Mendocino County, really are nothing short of apocalyptic. Take a look at what's behind me now. If you can see the devastation, the wide-ranging, I mean, it's 180 all the way 360, it's all around us. All around us. Everything here was a mobile home, a car, people's lives were here, but now everything here is a shade of gray or brown or black, and there's really nothing to be salvaged. Fires are smoldering in most of the area where 100 out of 160 of these mobile homes have burned. I do have one little bit of good news here, because there's been a high pressure gas line that has been on fire and burning for well over 12 hours. PG&E crews working out on Mendocino Avenue have just now been able to get that gas turned off. The big concern was right next to it was a huge propane tank. Now, throughout the area up here, and as you say, wine country, Napa, Sonoma counties, Lake Mendocino, the flames have been burning out of control. More than 73,000 acres have burned. At least 1,500 structures have destroyed. Those are homes and outbuildings, and at least 100 mobile homes here in this park. 20,000 people have been evacuated. The Sonoma County Sheriff is now telling us there are at least 10 confirmed deaths. There are 7 here in Sonoma County, there are 2 in Napa County, and 1 in Mendocino County. Now, just directly behind my camera up on the hill is where the Santa Rosa Hilton Hotel sits, what's left of it. Right now, it's just flames, and it's a shell of what's left. And what's left? It's all on fire. It's destroyed. Guests of the hotel were forced to evacuate earlier. Most left behind their belongings. Our colleague Glenn Ramirez talked to one of the evacuees who got out of there barefoot and ran for their lives. And I'm not saying that lightheartedly. They ran and got out just in time. They left everything that's now being consumed by the flames.
Most of these fires have limited or no containment. These are very rapidly burning fires. Almost the entire effort last night and early this morning was focused on evacuations and moving citizens out of harm's way.
Now, besides homes and neighborhoods that have been evacuated, 2 hospitals had to be evacuated. 130 patients moved out of Kaiser Permanente Santa Rosa Medical Center, which is directly behind me here. Sutter Santa Rosa Regional Hospital also evacuated 80 of its patients, and adding to the chaos, we're told more than 100 people injured in the fires. Now, KPIX 5 reporter Wilson Walker got out here to the fire lines just about midnight, and here's what he saw in those early morning hours.
So I've been trying to explain to you guys what the roadways are like if you're trying to make your way around Napa and Sonoma County. Well, this is it. This is what driving around is like right now. Truth be told, I think everyone up here has sort of been making it up as they go along, sort of poking around, trying to figure out where it's safe, where it's not safe, where someone might be telling you to go. And sometimes you frankly have no choice but to stand around and watch the fire do what it's going to do, hope it moves along, and then you can try to get moving down the highway. So incredibly dangerous driving conditions here. Still very dark, very smoky, still fire along many of these roadways.
That's Wilson Walker, who got out here shortly after midnight, and he's still here working on another story for us coming up at 6 o'clock. Now, in Santa Rosa, firefighters, certainly, they're all doing what they can, but we have seen fire after fire after fire just get started and burn out of control. One person told me that what was so disconcerting is that you look to the left and there's a fire burning there. You go to evacuate, escape on the right, there's another fire burning there. You look behind you, there's another fire burning there. The winds were so strong and erratic, they just didn't really know which way to go. And you know, firefighters were doing what they could, and they were trying to direct people in the safest route possible, but even they were a bit overwhelmed by all of this that's been going on. Now, the priority, of course, was saving lives, not the properties, as is evidence behind me, but here in the Journey's End Mobile Home Park, they were able to save everyone. No one injured, no one died here, but they told me that the residents told me that they were watching the fire off to the east, up in the hills, and they watched it and they watched it and they watched it as it started to come down the hill, and then all of a sudden the Hilton, the Santa Rosa Hilton, started on fire. Then they were told, you better get out, and the fire hit another Fountain Grove Inn, which is now destroyed, along with the Hilton, and then it jumped the street and it caught the bushes on fire right on the edge of this mobile home park. And, you know, if you've ever seen a mobile home park, you know that the houses are just so tightly packed in here. They're so close, and they do, you know, tend to go up in flames very, very quickly. But certainly the dry weather hasn't helped us. The strong winds last night pushing flames and embers for miles. I know that when I woke up in the middle of the night, and I live in the northern part of Marin County, and I thought I could smell smoke, but I wasn't really sure. Then when I got up this morning, even in northern Marin County, I walked out and ash was raining down like snow. It was on the deck as well. And of course, as we've been saying, fires have ripped through neighborhood after neighborhood, neighborhood after neighborhood. Dozens of homes in the Coffee Park neighborhood of Santa Rosa are now gone. That is completely devastated. KPIX5's Jackie Ward has spent much of the day there. Jackie?
What a day it's been here, because a lot of people have been walking around to check to see if their friends' homes are still standing. That's because this area is really hit or miss. As you can tell right here, this house totally fine, unscathed. The houses across the street there's a string, no problem at all, not even any ash or soot when you look in their driveways. But then you come to the corner here of San Miguel Ave, and you see that there are homes that have been completely lost, shells of homes remaining here, garages, doors completely melted. It's unbelievable. We'll toss back to you.
Fire was also marching towards Santa Rosa, so we realized early on with the wind that we were battling on our own fires that this fire was it was going to come into Santa Rosa. So what we did, we did what we could. We ordered up mutual aid early. We ordered up mutual aid early. We established unified command with CDF or CAL FIRE, and we set up our area, our staging area in the Kmart parking lot in the city of Santa Rosa. And it didn't take long before we realized that was not a good spot. So we moved about an hour later to our Fire Station 3. At that time, we had 3 immediate need strike teams. We had 25 other strike teams inbound, and it was all we could do to, put engines in the right place. We had every resource in the county. We recalled every firefighter in the city of Santa Rosa, and we used every resource to the best of our ability. But with that kind of wind, that fire, I'm not sure when it started, but for us, it blew into Santa Rosa right around midnight, a little bit earlier. And by morning time, the fire was about 25 to 30,000 acres. So it came in hard. It was very, very windy, very dry wind, and it was very taxing for the entire city. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to CAL FIRE's incident commander, Brett Govea, and he's going to talk about what they're going to do. So thank you.
Good evening, Brett Govea, Incident Commander from CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1. Incident Management Team 1 was activated at approximately 1 o'clock in the morning to come down and support the incidents in Sonoma and Napa County through the night. Ultimately, this morning we were assigned the responsibility of command in conjunction with Unified Command with Santa Rosa County Fire and, Santa Rosa City Fire and Chief Gosner, in a unified effort to command the incident. Current situation, as Chief Gosner pointed out, is 25 to 30,000 acres, 0% contained. The fire has done a good amount of magnitude of damage, and we are still working with putting our damage assessment teams together and getting them out to accurately document the amount of damage that we have. We've had a great cooperative effort throughout the night from local fire agencies in Sonoma County as well as local law enforcement agencies. Also, continuing effort from the Master Mutual Aid System from the local, state, and federal fire departments up and down the state of California. CAL FIRE would like to urge you to, and the public, to help us with any new fire starts to ensure that we don't get any. As you can see, conditions are severe up and down the state, and resources have spread thin with the massive amount of fires that we have up and down the state. Thank you.
Evening. I'm Rob Giordano, the sheriff here in Sonoma County. Sheriff's office role in this started late last night. We've been supporting fire and evacuations. We had deputies up on Mark West when the fire went through. We had deputies pinned down with civilians and they couldn't get out and the fire just went around them. So it's been quite harrowing for them. What I really want to get out to the public is please stay off the roads. Please stay off the evacuated areas. We will be making arrests if there are looters. We're already starting to see that problem, so we will enforce the law. Stay out of the burn areas, stay out of the evacuated areas. Bear with us. A lot of highly trained, good first responders working together to keep everybody safe, but we are actively trying to rescue people right now. That's the stage we're in. We have 7 confirmed deaths related to this fire so far. That number's gonna change. It's just too early. We can't even get into a lot of the spots, so I don't expect that to stay that way very long. Are there any questions that I can answer?
In terms of going home, a lot of people are starting to do that. Is that against your...
Yeah, we're not going to let anybody into the burn areas. Every area we control, we're going to keep everybody out of right now because we're trying to keep everything safe, and frankly, most of it's still very hot.
In what area did you find the fatalities?
I actually don't know.
Are you evacuating people now? And where?
When I left the main office...
Now, you've been watching a live news conference that's going on in the Santa Rosa area right now. That is the spokesperson for the Sheriff's Department who says his numbers confirm 7 fatalities. Our numbers are a little bit different. We got numbers from the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department and the CHP that 10 people have lost their lives. A lot of that is due to just information that gets filtered down, and we'll get to the bottom of what the exact numbers are. We also we want to go back to the news conference now. Okay, let's go back
there. And last night we started answering calls for service on the east side of the county and near the Highway 12 area, and we've continued to do so through the morning hours. We brought in extra personnel from all over the Bay Area to help assist with road closures and calls for service and evacuations and medical aid and all the various things you can think of, our aircraft to view things from the sky and get a better perspective. It's been difficult for everybody, and our allied agency partners and both fire and police have been outstanding, and I can't thank them enough. They're true professionals, and we're trying to do everything that we can to keep the roads safe for everybody, but as the sheriff mentioned, you know, please, if you don't have to be out on the roads, don't be out on the roads. It's going to take a while for things to subside and for the roads to become safe again. The closures are minimal at this point, but for a while, a long time there, we had the major arteries, 101 and Highway 12 closed. They're now reopened for the most part. But again, there's still a lot going on, and please drive safe and within your means, and don't drive on the roads unless you absolutely have to. So, thank you. And with that, I'd like to introduce the acting chief for Santa Rosa PD, Craig Schwartz.
Good evening. My name is Craig Schwartz. I'm a captain with the Santa Rosa Police Department, currently the acting chief. As the others have all said, this incident started for us about 17 hours ago when we first got notice that the fires were moving rapidly into the city of Santa Rosa. Since that time, the Santa Rosa Police Department, along with our fellow law enforcement officers throughout the county and the region, as well as firefighters, have been engaged in continual evacuation and rescue efforts. Those efforts are still ongoing. we do still have new fires flaring up within the city, and our officers are continuing to go around and evacuate people from the affected areas, and when those people are unable to get out of the area, going in to actually try and perform some rescues. It has been a horrific and terrifying night for a great many people, and we ask that as we continue with these efforts, like the others have said, stay out of the mandatory evacuation areas for your own safety, as well as for the safety of the first responders who have to go in and try and contain these fires and rescue people inside the areas. To that end, the City of Santa Rosa, through the City Manager's Authority, under an emergency declaration, has enacted a curfew for the mandatory evacuation zones from 6:45 p.m. sunset until sunrise. Anybody who is out in those hours in the mandatory evacuation zones will be subject to stop and potentially arrest if they refuse to either go back inside or leave the areas. In this case, they would have to leave the mandatory evacuation zone. That's for, like I said, the safety of the people in that area, as well as the safety of the first responders, and allowing us to get through and try and get the situation under control as efficiently as possible. And with that, I'd like to introduce the Santa Rosa City Manager, Sean McGlynn.
Good evening. I just want to take a chance to thank the citizens of the city of Santa Rosa for the resiliency they've shown in this very, very trying and difficult time, and also to acknowledge the astonishing work that our public safety team has done over the last 17 hours. When I stepped into the situation at about 3 o'clock this morning, we had to declare a local state of emergency. Shortly thereafter, the county declared a state of emergency, and then we had the governor declare a state of emergency for the county. I would just be remiss without also acknowledging all the hard work and all the support we're getting from across the state as people come here and deploy and assist us in this very, very difficult and trying time. But I will tell you, the men and women of the city of Santa Rosa are committed to seeing this through and helping everyone they can. And what I would say is I would urge the citizens of the city of Santa Rosa to go to our website, srcity.org, and connect with us as we get information out about this dynamic and ever-changing situation. Thank you. And now I'd like to turn over the podium to the mayor, Chris Coursey.
I'm Mayor Chris Coursey, and first of all, I want to acknowledge that I'm as frustrated as all of you at the scarcity of information that we have at this point. I want to know how many people have died, how many people have been injured, how many people are in shelters, how many people have been evacuated, how many structures have been lost. It's frustrating. On the other hand, for the last 17 or 18 hours, our personnel have been out there doing the job of saving lives, and that's got to come first. There will be time later on to measure up the damage and count the numbers. I want to just say that my heart goes out to everyone who has suffered loss in the last day or so. I'm lucky. My house is fine. My family is fine. My city is not. And it's going to take a long time for us to recover what's happened today. I'm really glad to have the support of our local, our county, our state and federal partners. We're going to need you as we go through this difficult time. I also want to say that Santa Rosa is a strong city. We're a resilient city. We're an indivisible city, and we're going to need to hang together as we go through this. Thank you. Next up is Board of Supervisors Chairwoman Shirley Zane.
Thank you, and along with me is Supervisor David Rabbit. I want to assure our residents that it has been all hands on deck since 4 o'clock in the morning when we opened and began to operate our emergency operations center. The amount of people that have come together to work on this is truly amazing. And I will also tell you that I'm devastated in terms of what I've seen. It is beyond belief. And as the mayor said, I think a lot of us who are in elected office are frustrated right now because we so want to care and minister to the people that we love and serve. I did spend some time out at the evacuee centers today, this morning and this afternoon, and of special interest and concern for me is the many seniors who got evacuated from assisted living and skilled nursing who need medication, additional oxygen tanks, and other and have other very fragile medical needs. I will also tell you that I spoke with the Senator Harris's office this morning about some of those needs. I am very encouraged that the state and the federal government is here being represented and that they understand the devastation that we've experienced. And we are a resilient county, and we will come back from this. But right now, we need to grieve because the loss is significant. And we promise you, we will try and get you as much information as we can through multiple means. And now I'd like to introduce my colleague, Supervisor Rabbit.
I just want to give a shout out to all the brave men and women who are manning the lines out there and battling these flames. I also want to thank the men and women who are protecting them and protecting property and protecting all of us in law enforcement as well as all the emergency technicians. I also want to say, as the city manager mentioned earlier, the resiliency of this county is amazing. I was at some shelters or some evacuation centers in Petaluma earlier today, and cars were lined up delivering goods. So people's hearts are big in this county. They want to step up. We look forward to moving forward together, rebuilding together with the help of our state and federal partners, and very much appreciate that. Thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce our Congressman Mike Thompson.
I'm Mike Thompson. I represent part of the Sonoma County. Jared Huffman represents the other part in the United States Congress, and Jim Wood, our assemblyman. And I just want everybody to know that your state and federal partners are going to be working overtime to make sure that we're there to help in any way and every way we can. As you've already heard, the governor's declared a state of emergency. That's been forwarded to the federal government. It rests with FEMA right now. My office has been involved with FEMA and been pushing them to make the declaration. So far, they've approved the federal fire assistance grants, which will help a great deal. But as this progresses, I fully expect that we'll be getting assistance from FEMA in the way of public assistance, which is going to be very, very important for our state and local government partners, and individual assistance, which will be assistance for those individuals who have suffered a loss of property. There'll also be, I'm assuming, low-interest loans that will be available. I was in the helicopter today, the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department helicopter, took a number of photographs. All of those have been sent both to FEMA and to the White House to make sure that they know how serious this is and how devastated our community is. And I look forward to continuing to work with the community, and a special thanks to all the firefighters and all the sheriffs and police officers. They've been doing a fantastic job, along with all the local government employees who've just been working 24/7 on this, and all the fantastic volunteers. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a few questions. So direct who you would like to speak to.
Any idea what started the fire?
The fire's still under investigation at this time, and once we have the information, we'll get it out to you. Again, this is, we're less than 17 hours, and we have investigators out there to determine what the cause of the fire is.
What else can you tell us about the deaths?
I can't tell you anything more about the deaths. We've only recovered 7.
What
Were they recovered in debris, in rubble, and
In fire, in hot spots of the fire.
what about the remote areas?
You mentioned looting.
We've been getting reports of people in the neighborhoods and a couple of possible burglary calls, so we're just starting to field that. Let me add this too. We have 200 people working just for the sheriff's office, law enforcement officers right now, roughly 80 to 90 sheriff's office employees, and then we have 120 to 150, depending on what time of the day, from all the Bay Area supporting law enforcement agencies. So we're getting excellent support from the other law enforcement places, so we're locking those neighborhoods down to make sure we don't have that problem.
They're looting homes, businesses?
We just had them in homes and business areas, a couple calls. So.
How far-reaching is your mutual aid been? I understand San Mateo County sent as many as 50 officers.
Yeah, we have Alameda. San Francisco sent 100. Alameda SO, San Mateo. There's roughly 20 agencies have sent people for us today, but the farthest I'm aware of right now is San Francisco, San Mateo.
With the fatalities, were these people who were unaccounted for and you went looking?
I don't know how they were found. I just know they've found 7 so far.
We mentioned of active rescues going on. Can you say in what areas those are taking place?
Active rescues right now? No, just evacuation still going on. Yeah.
And just calls for evacuation?
So I can cover some of that for you. Before we came over here, we had officers conducting evacuations and rescues still in the Fountain Grove Parkway neighborhoods, as well as from Spring Lake Village on Montgomery Drive, just on the east end of town. Most of the evacuation and rescue efforts that were taking place later in the afternoon were still in the Fountain Grove area. And that was also the site of some of the most harrowing rescues last night, where on the radio officers were going in and reporting that they were surrounded by flames and having a hard time getting out, as well as in some of the mobile home complexes along the Highway 101 corridor.
And how did they get out? Did they drive through flames?
You know, I don't know. I just know that they all got out, and in many cases were able to get victims into their cars and transport them either to evacuation centers or to hospitals.
Is it being rescued now, or are they folks that didn't leave? They didn't follow the evacuation orders?
I couldn't tell you for certain. I know that in a few cases we believe that to be true, but I don't know about all of them.
And what part of Santa Rosa are they in?
Excuse me?
Those who are being evacuated now.
Primarily in the Fountain Grove neighborhoods. We were doing evacuations recently in Spring Lake Village on Montgomery Drive, over by Spring Lake, but most of them are taking place still in the hills around Fountain Grove Parkway.
What's the capacity like at shelters? Is there enough space for everyone that needs it?
Thank you. Actually, we have a number of shelters open. We currently have evacuated people to the Veterans Memorial Building, very close to here. We have them at our Finley Community Center on the west side of town. We have also accepted the gracious offers of help from the Santa Rosa City School District and have been able to take people to Elsie Allen High School on the south end of town, Cook Middle School. We've also gotten aid from Sebastopol and have taken people to Annalee High School, as well as Casa Grande High School in Petaluma.
So yes, there is enough space for everyone that needs it?
Some of those are at capacity, and others we still have a little bit of room left, yes. I don't have that count for you. I'm told that during the evacuations for the city of Santa Rosa that we have...
We're watching live at a press conference in Santa Rosa right now, talking about the fire there burning in Sonoma County. Just the latest numbers on Sonoma County itself, 20 to 30,000 acres burned, 0% contained.
Of course, there are a number of fires burning in neighboring counties as well. Napa County has another 25,000. All told, over 70,000 acres have been consumed. Over 1,500 buildings, and many of those are homes. We believe that at least 10 people have lost their lives in the combination of these fires, all started by that crazy weather we saw overnight. Advice from law enforcement tonight: stay off the roads. Stay out of the burn areas and out of the evacuation areas.
And here's a live look from Chopper 5. There you can see that thick haze that's just blanketing the entire Bay Area right now. Let's send it over to Jackie Ward. She is live in Santa Rosa at one of those burned out neighborhoods. Jackie, what can you tell us?
This is just a glimpse of the kind of devastation that we're seeing all over these counties right now. Homes now just dust and rubble. You can see that it's still smoldering. We still have flames burning in the background in one of those lots back there. CAL FIRE has been here for a little bit. They'll come by, they'll put some water on these, what's left of these homes, the foundations and dirt rather, but then they have to get to other areas because this is such a massive fire. So there are neighbors that have resorted to hosing down hotspots that they can. So this is just a little bit of what is complete wreckage and devastation in the neighborhood called Coffee Park. That's in the northwest section of the city of Santa Rosa. If you continue down just a few more blocks on San Miguel Ave, you will see blocks and blocks of this kind of devastation. We've spoken to people who live around here, who have friends who live around here, and they said, yeah, they know it's fire season in California, but they would never expect a fire of this magnitude to strike a densely populated area like Santa Rosa. They're walking around just shocked and stunned right now, and as you can see, there's a line of cars. This traffic has been like this for a couple of hours with people just gawking at what's become a local spectacle. But please, you heard the officials earlier, stay off the roads if you can. This is an evacuated area. They want you out of here so you can stay safe. In Santa Rosa, Jackie Ward, KPIX 5.
All right, Jackie, thank you. And stay with KPIX 5 and CBSSF.com for the very latest on the Wine Country wildfires.
Well, Veronica and I will have extended coverage from the fire zone, a special 2-hour edition of KPIX 5 News that begins at 6 o'clock. Join us for that tonight. We'll have all the latest as well on where you can get help, how the Red Cross is working, where, if you still need an evacuation center to go to, where you can go. CBSSF.com.